My name is Tomasz Dyl. I'm the Managing Director and founder of Got2B Marketing, and I'm delighted to be welcoming you to the Drums Network. This is our first ever event we've done it, and hopefully plenty more to come. Today, we are here to talk about equality, diversity, and inclusion. But for us, EDI stands for everyone doing it together. We believe that as a marcoms, as an ad-land industry, we need to all come together to not only better represent the market, but also to be able to appeal to a much wider group of people that are around. Of course, you must have heard about Black Pound, Brown Pound, Pink Pound. That's over £300 billion worth of industry. That's not many are tapping into at the moment. Throughout today, we're going to be hearing from clients who already are on the journey to discovering that £300 billion industry. But we're also going to be hearing from media owners who are here to tell you about some of the 200 titles and publications that are available that, again, not all agencies are using, but they're there to help you to target some of your clients' customers. And of course, we're a very sociable bunch of people. So please do tag us and join the conversation on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram at Got2B Marketing. And if you're on Twitter, it's at Got2B UK. So to kick off today's panel, or the first conversation, we are delighted to be joined by the Global People and Inclusion Officer from Oliver. Amina Folarin is the youngest of Oliver's global leadership team, and she oversees quite a small team of people, just short of 3,500, for 200 clients in 46 countries. Amina was recently listed on the BIMA 100, the 100 most influential people in the technology and digital space. Her team are responsible for helping and bringing the business, but equally making the agency the 40th best place in the UK to work and the 6th best agency in the UK according to the Sunday Times list. And it's an absolute pleasure for me to invite Amina Folarin to the stage. Now, we're just going to get you a little microphone. So, Amina, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got a busy schedule, plenty of recruitment, and plenty more jobs to fill in. But let me start by asking, what does EDI really mean to Oliver and to the workforce and the team behind that are working and shaping the future of some of your clients as well?
So I think for us, I'll start with the order of the letters. So E, the equity, is about realising that the barriers that are in place for our people are not the same. The challenges aren't the same and the size of the hurdles aren't the same. So how can we as an organisation compensate for that and make sure that we have access to things for our employees and prospective employees? Diversity for us is about the hard targets. It's about how are we measuring that? How are we ensuring that we're holding ourselves accountable? And lastly, inclusion is about allowing people to be themselves, taking into account all of the things that make them different, but also that we can build really diverse teams with a great mix of different minds, different ethnicities, religious backgrounds, disabilities, abilities, etc., but that people can be themselves at work. So that's what EDI is for us.
Brilliant. And I know you've got an amazing program called the Changemakers. Can you tell us a little more about how that came about? What is Changemakers and how you get the team embedded into becoming Changemakers?
Sure. So the Changemakers actually started for us in 2020 off the back of the murder of George Floyd. As the people leader and the inclusion leader, I felt that as an organisation, we were doing a lot of work in the diversity space, but it was kind of hidden. We weren't shouting about it, and it was very much focused on ethnicity and gender, but not about creating access, equity, or even equality for those groups, but making sure that we were ticking the boxes. And so Simon Martin and I, the chief exec, got in a room and we had some quite interesting and honest conversations about what it was really like to work in our organisation, and we decided to make a change. And that's where the idea from the Changemakers came from. I'm a strong believer in people-powered change. So rather than all the change being top-down, this is our strategy, I said, why don't we involve our employees in the conversation? Why don't we get them to tell us what it's like to work here, and also how we can improve it and improve all the different things about our organisation and our culture that would help make our business one of the most inclusive businesses to work for. And so the Changemakers came about. We have about 45 volunteers globally who come together on a monthly basis to discuss various issues surrounding DE&I, because that's the way we talk about it. And they each have little subgroups where they are focusing on things like our marketing strategies, how we talk with our clients, how we communicate with our employees, the events that we put on. It's Pride Month now, so actually they are organising events that are meaningful to them, helping get the message out. And it's been really powerful because we now have employees who are not part of Changemakers coming forward to talk about their experiences and things about their culture. We had, at the start of the year, we had an interview with a Holocaust survivor, and our employees said, you know, I've worked here for 7 years and this was the first time I felt comfortable with coming forward with the fact that I'm Jewish. So, yeah, that's how the Changemakers came about. We also have a change board. You know, a lot of companies say, well, how can we make our boards more diverse? Well, actually, if you don't have space on your board, you create another board, but you give them accountability and you give them responsibility. So we have a change board that's made up of 10 members. They get paid to do the job. This isn't about free labour. Organisations actually need to put their money where their mouths are. They're trained in topics around diversity and inclusion, and their role is to really help hold the leadership team accountable for delivering on the objectives that we've set as an organisation.
Fantastic. And whilst you sort of mentioning all those things, I know Jenny Bond from the Agency Collective later will be telling us about the Adland and the Markham's industry and how diverse or the lack of diversity there is. So my next question is, how do you get so many diverse people to work for Oliver? Of course, you know, let's not make this a recruitment event, but how do you make it so it is such a diverse team? I mean, globally, but also in the UK as well.
So I think each market that we're in has different challenges when it comes to diversity. So I would say the first point is to understand what diversity means in those markets and take people on the education process. We're still, you know, we're definitely not perfect. So I don't want to sit here and say that we are, but we're trying, and we're trying really hard. And I think, you know, some of the things that we're doing around the recruitment process, helping line managers to understand why having a diverse team is important, that it's okay to hire for the team. You know, what does your team makeup need to look like? Also, advertising in channels where the people that you want to attract, where are they? Are they all on LinkedIn? If you're trying to attract, you know, 18 to 25-year-olds, they're probably not on LinkedIn. Most people don't go on LinkedIn until they've had their first job. Why would you look there for them for a graduate position? So making sure that we're also partnering with people and organisations that are in those communities. And also, you know, making sure that you also have representation. I think it's quite difficult for organisations to hire people from diverse backgrounds if your organisation all looks the same.
Yeah.
Or if you do hire them, then they don't stay. And I think actually a lot more organisations need to focus on inclusion, because if you have an empathetic leadership team, if you have an empathetic culture, then people will stay.
Yeah.
And then they will help hire and attract people that look like them, that are from the same backgrounds as them. And I think that's important.
So that kind of links to my next question: is what is one piece of advice you would give to try and appeal and get more diverse audience? I mean, is there any way that you recruit differently? Is there platforms you go on? I mean, of course, you've mentioned about LinkedIn, but, you know, of course, I'm sure most people here would be using things like Indeed or Job Library or might be whatever. But is there one platform that, you know, if it's, of course, not too much to reveal, but is there anywhere that you go that is a little bit different, perhaps?
Again, I think it depends who you're trying to hire.
Of course.
And so you have to go where people are. So Social Fix-It's really good. LinkedIn can be good, although I do think that they actually make it quite difficult to find candidates that don't all look the same, but that's my own kind of personal experience with them. Indeed is good. Partnering with companies like the Brixton Finishing School in the UK, if you want to get, you know, more graduates into the organisation. When the government do schemes like the Kickstarter programme, that was really great for actually accessing people from different socio-economic backgrounds also. So I think there's not a magic bullet that will solve all the problems. Sure. I think it's something that you have to invest a lot of time and in some cases money, effort and energy into outreach to the communities that you want to attract. Would be my answer to that question.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Amina, for coming.
Worries.
I know you've got a call to run to, so thank you so much. Please give us a round of applause to Amina.